All right.
We're live. We're going live now. Like we're live now.
I finished just in time.
Oh my god! Did you? I don't know. I don't know if you did.
they got the
Okay.
tail end.
Oh boy.
This is very professional. This is. I've 0 watchers. Okay. This is.
We
It
could
takes
just
a while
hang around
for them
and wait.
to show up.
Yeah.
Trust in our Lord and Savior Streamyard. You got it, Jolie.
You got it.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing great. We got it.
Yeah. Okay. Because I see that I've like no watchers, so that's good.
No, we've got people in the chat. You've got watchers. It
Yeah,
takes
we got
Streamyard a
5.
while.
Okay.
We got 5 people.
Yeah,
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 we're
yeah.
good.
This is the pre-show stuff. We just
Yeah.
as soon as one person shows
Yeah.
up, we're gonna do the hey y'all.
Oh, 5! There's 5. Okay, I'm going.
I told you it takes a little bit.
Hello, lovely people. This is my first live stream. I'm very excited. Like my first live stream about the others in the wall. I have a small council with me, and I'm very happy that they are here because otherwise I would have not done it because I was scared as fuck. So, I will first introduce my small council. I will start with my Hand of the Queen. This lovely lady here. She is my Hand of the Queen, and you can introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Amy Blackfire. I have a channel and a blog, and I talk about Eastern symbolism in Western fantasy, such as Song of Ice and Fire, His Dark Materials, and more. And yes, Jolie and I have become fast friends on the internet because all my friends are on the internet. And I am really excited to be here and to have the distinct honor of being your Hand of the Queen.
Of course. You're my little sister, so it's
Thanks, big
amazing.
sis.
Okay, so I also have a Grand Maester.
Yeah.
This guy right there. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello. I am technically I'm Archmaester Buzzkill, but today I got promoted to Grand Maester Buzzkill for the small council. But I'm Archmaester Buzzkill. My podcast is called Through the Moon Door. You can get it on Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Podcast, Pocketcast. I don't know what I don't remember. And I'm also on YouTube. YouTube channel is also called Through the Moon Door. Moon Door is 2 words, just like in the books. I talk about all things Aswath. I have many great guests, and in fact, for my next episode, I'm gonna have this guy right here, Micah, to talk about minor characters. So yeah, make sure you don't miss that.
Does he know a thing or two about minor characters?
He has a
A
spreadsheet.
couple of things.
I
has a
felt like he's
spreadsheet.
obsessed with it or anything.
Nah,
Nah.
it'll be great. I mean, we exchanged our top 10s, and I can say I knew about like 70% of the people he picked. Where I knew who they were. So it's going to be a very educational stream for
Satin
people.
better be on one or both of your lists. Satin is
Satin
babe.
is not on Micah's list. And you can direct your angry emails at him. He is the co-host of the Planet Host podcast.
I won't even wait until after this. I'm doing it right now. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, Through the Moon Door. I'm also on Twitter, I guess. Yeah, you can find that probably.
Okay, so as an expert on minor characters, I couldn't not have Micah as my Master of Whispers, because Master of Whispers needs to know about everyone, like everyone. So I'm going to let himself introduce himself.
Well, yeah.
But
Do any of you know off the top of your head who Halleck is?
no,
I didn't think so. Anyway.
He just
Lex
made that
over
name
there,
up.
he's
That
dunking on us.
that
Jeez.
person does not exist. That name is made up.
All names are made up.
yeah,
Hey everyone, I am Micah. You can find me on Twitter at Micah_of_Clark, and I'm also the third host on the Planet Host podcast with Travis and Brett. You can find us on Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Podbean. And it's been an honor to have been invited to join the Knights Queen's Courts. Thank you, Jolie. It's going to be great to discuss all this with you. And we will get to why Satin is not on that list when we get to it.
Oh yeah.
There's a reason. There's a reason.
Boo.
You just can't handle that hot, sweet ass, can you? That is satin.
That's not the reason.
Okay. That's at least super exciting. Oh my god. There's so many. There's people watching. It's weird.
It bothers me that I can't see how many people are watching.
Yeah, you have to be on
Oh.
her, specifically on her Streamyard account to be able to see it.
Oh,
I will refresh my
Okay.
app so I can find out.
I
Yeah,
have the
it's like
stream
eight
open on
people
my
or
phone.
something.
So.
oh, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so
Hi, Kate.
this month, because I want to do this every month, is going to be the subject is going to be the wall and the others, because I'm the Night's Queen and that is where you start. I have like a couple of topics that we can discuss, and also what I like to do is if someone has a question, a theory that has to do with this subject, and they want to discuss that with myself and my small council, they can do that. If you send me a DM on Twitter or in the Slack, for people who don't have Twitter, then I can send you the StreamYard link and you can discuss your question or theory with us. You don't have to be on camera. You can be on camera, but you don't have to be. But yeah, and if we don't have any people waiting now, so I would suggest that we start with a question that I really want to talk about, because it's like we don't know. This is pure speculating, but like, what do the others want? What is their ultimate goal? What, like, why are they there? So, I think I will first ask this of my small council and look at the chat, and then if and I also I don't know. That's the problem. So I really want to figure this out. So yeah, let's throw it out there. What do the others want? Does anyone know or have a theory about it?
I mean,
Like-
if you take what the show gave us, which I don't always take as canon, then yeah, same. Then it's that they were created by the children of the forest to get rid of the first men. So it would be to wipe out humanity, basically. That could be one of the ways you could look at it. But I think that sounds a little simplistic for George. So I don't just eat that full bowl and not ask questions. I don't just spoon it into my mouth. I kind of feel like there's more going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean the thing.
Jolie, what is the meaning of life? Go ahead, panel.
Why are the others?
Yeah.
I mean,
Why are others?
Why?
yeah,
why?
the backstory of the others is one of those things from the show where I actually didn't mind it. I think it's a very likely explanation, just because I can't really think of what else they would be that would tie into the bigger story. Like I can't see many other backstories for them where we would be like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because they're clearly out to kill people. And I can't see them having some like higher purpose or being secretly good or anything like that.
Right.
So if we're going with the thing that they're trying to get rid of people, having them start out as being created to actually destroy people, and then having some kind of Frankenstein's monster thing going on where they turned against the children or the children regretted creating them, I think it's a pretty good theory to go with until we get any more details, because Lord knows there's hardly anything on the White Walkers in the books.
I love when people
Yeah.
know that it was the doctor named Frankenstein and not the monster. Like, Yogi, this is why we're friends, because I'm not usually a purist, but, you know, it's
The
like,
wretch.
I study science fiction, and that's the first work of science fiction. So whenever people are like, man, he's like a monster, like Frankenstein, I'm like, no, it's the name of the doctor.
It was also
I
written
do-
by a woman,
It was, Shelley.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mary
So
Shelley.
science fiction,
Mary
you're
Shelley.
welcome, Min. We gave that
Yeah.
to you. I do want to say, if you are interested in this topic of the others in general, In Deep Geek has a great video with this guy named Bron Steries. I don't know.
Who is that?
Whoever that guy
Like,
is.
who is
William
that?
H.
Whoever
Macy's
that
stunt
is.
double.
Some guy named Bron Steries.
We don't know
whatever.
him.
Anyway, he wrote an essay on black and white symbolism, specifically when it comes to the others versus the Night's Watch, right? We have white and black. So you should really watch that video with obviously after this live stream. Don't be doubling up on us. But after you're done with this live stream, check out In Deep Geek with Bron Steries. I believe it's called The Mysteries of the Others or something like that, but it's really good. But sorry, just a plug for this guy named Bron Steries. I don't know who he is.
So with with the others, like I've always sort of approached their backstory as I haven't actually really been interested in their backstory per se. I've been you all know where my focus is, but but like in concerns with their backstory, I do agree with what Yogi, our Grandmaster Buzzkill, has said, and
Thank you.
to an extent that does make sense, even if it is a little bit more on the simplistic side. But like even then, I also like to take into consideration the original outline as well. And the original outline, it very much could have been a lot more simplistic because it would have been a much smaller scope series. So we could see some remnants of that. And then, like, of course, their huge thematic story is that they are death. And that resonates really well with how George portrays them in the series.
Yeah, and he's just a little obsessed with death, you know. Just
a little bit.
I actually want to posit something else, which is something that All Hail the Night's Queen and I talk about in our collective essay and discussion that's on my channel that you should check out about the Shade of the Evening Tree. The Shade of the Evening Trees, pardon me. We talked a lot about how we think that someone, perhaps the Bloodstone Emperor, entered the werenet of Essos and corrupted it. So you could say that actually the White Walkers are punishing people for corrupting nature. So you could go with the whole global the others as global warming kind of thing, metaphor going on there. Allegory, pardon me. Oh God, I'm a literary scholar. Dang it, Amy. I'm just kidding. So you could say that, the others are not punishing them necessarily for wiping out the children of the Forest, which is genocide and not good. But rather it's for their disregard of nature, because we definitely see like the others, the children of the Forest are like tree huggers, right? They're stewards of nature. And yet, men are the opposite. They're like we see with the Western lens, they're using resources and they're not giving back to nature. Anyways, basically global warming exists and we should all reduce our carbon footprint. And this has been my TED Talk.
I like this one joke that was made when I saw somewhere where when season 7 was coming out, someone joked that the Night King's going to walk down to King's Landing, walk up to Cersei and say, "You worried? Watch climate change," and then walk away.
Listen, in about 1,000 years, they're going to invent this thing called the motor, and it's going to lead to a lot of CO2 production. So I just want to give you a heads up. Be aware of that.
Technology is stunted in Westeros. It'll be like 2,000 years.
Yeah. They haven't had
It is very.
Let's not get into that.
It is very stunted because, like, if the Long Night is 8,000 years ago,
right? Yeah,
like 8,000 years, we did a lot.
That's a lot.
Years.
But I think that George is meaning it to be like we have now, where like it was so many thousand years ago. When you have this oral history, like you have no way it could be 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago. I think George is really playing on this idea of before writing, you would just say, 5,000 years ago, my great grandfather founded the house. Like there's no way of actually proving that. Did you want to address Anna's question?
Yeah, because it kind of ties in with how I view the Nightwalker of the White Walkers and the Night's Queen, because the Night's Queen ties into this. Um, like I think that when the Children of the Forest had their big bitty big fight with the humans who came to Westeros, the First Men, they were talking about that there was a pact to stop the war between them when they fought for a while, and like they said, the wisest of their peoples signed the pact. But I think that maybe like like if you sign a peace treaty, not everyone in your your peoples um your people are agreeing with it, because they lost family members, they lost their homes, maybe they lost everything, and then if you sign a truce, it's like, yeah, but I hated you all this time, and now I'm not supposed to hate you anymore because someone signed something. So it could be that a couple of the children of the forest weren't happy with the pact or something and went north to seek some power to
Right.
defeat men and
Right. Yeah, that's where
like
the
throw them off their
right, and
so,
that's a very plausible case, and definitely leads into the runaway weapon theory. Like, I could definitely see way back then when there was still a lot more children of the forest around, and the men were just screwing up the place like they do, and the children would have been like, we need something that can beat these guys because they got this metal and crap, and that's just killing us. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely very plausible.
And on Anna's point about this idea of using tools or having others do your dirty work, that's a huge part of George's series. We have the Green Seer, right, being able to kind of pull the strings from the werewood, but then it's people outside of the werenet that are actually doing the work. So you see that with a lot of examples, such as I write about this in my essay about Darkstar with Julie. Not this. This is Jolie. I'm talking about Julie, the very American name, where we talk about how there are all these examples of people like Tywin using Gregor as his kind of pulling the strings behind him. So that's a really big part. And you have Littlefinger pulling the strings, right? So what I think Anna, what she's trying to get to is that we look at the White Walkers and we think they're the bad guys, but someone is controlling them. Someone is pulling their strings. They're the puppets, basically.
Right. But there's also the other thing to consider is when people make their own decisions because they are their own. Everyone is their own person and thinks they're their own hero in their story. So you have situations like if the theory that Euron is actually a former protege of Bloodraven, he no longer is, because he either strayed away or Bloodraven saw what was in Euron's mind and said, hell no.
Abort!
Right. So you could have, but yeah. And as well as doing stuff like that, you also have situations where everyone also wants to do their own thing. And that can lead to things going wrong, which the overpowering, the superpower behind it has to adhere to it or make amends in some way.
Yeah. So there could be a tool of other power that resides maybe in the north, maybe somewhere around the heart of winter or something.
Maybe.
Gee, is someone developing a theory on that? Who was obsessed with the Night's Queen? I don't know.
My opinion is that in regards to if say the children are the ones that are if the current children of the forest are the ones behind it, I don't actually think so. I think that I think the children that are with Bran in the Cape are not the ones behind it. are the current
I don't
one.
think
I think
either.
that I think what children are left are the ones who are like so many characters coming to the forefront now are depressed about the damage that's been caused, and they want to try to heal it.
But they do seem to have a collective memory through the werewood. So they do know, they do remember, right? Because when they die, they enter the werewood. So it's kind of a collective memory of all of the children. And actually, yeah, I'm glad you put that up. Leaf has a really great point about this. This is really true of Chinese mythology. You have Yu the Great who quelled the great floods, right? So a lot of people talk about there are flood myths all over the world, which is slightly simplistic, but you can actually find that. So in the case of China, there was a great flood of the Yellow River around like either 5,000 BCE or no, it would 5,000 BCE or 10,000 or 15,000 depending on what you're thinking about with the myth. But there is this great hero who quelled the floods, and we know he's at a certain time, and most likely he was a team of people. I have an upcoming essay about comparing him to Azor Ahai, so
you have an essay
for that. I'm working on a couple.
Right, yeah, those can be.
Surprise.
There's situations like that all over the world, right? You have the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is a tale of a great flood in the ancient empire of Sumer in Mesopotamia. And like that's a flood myth that could be attributed to several floods of the rivers that happen occasionally from 3,000 BCE to as far back as possibly 6,000 BCE. Yeah, that's a great point, Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that George is really playing off of this idea of ancient history and how events are remembered, but when they happened is always in question. You should never believe when someone said it was 8,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago. We see that in the World Book, right? It gives these maesters who are writing it, right? Or in Fire and Blood when they say it was 3,000 years, like they don't really know that.
Yeah, especially because before the Andals came there, they didn't really have writing because they. So.
I mean, they had first men had like glyphs, right? They had like runes. There you go.
They had runes. Yeah. And you also have the detail that Samuel Tarley finds when he's going through the books in the library, where he's like, "We only have 600 Night's Watchmen listed for Lord Commanders out of the 998 that are said." Mm-hmm. And 600 is like a greatly reduced amount from what's there. And we don't know how long each reigned. Mm-hmm. So it's actually really hard to tell when the first one would have been, let alone the Night King, number 13.
Yeah, number 13.
Number 13. Is that affiliated with anything?
No, I don't know. It's like 69 or 420. These
it's completely random.
He also allegedly ruled for 13 years. So
that's just a coincidence.
Yeah, I'm sure it means nothing.
And the Lost Hero had 12 companions. Maybe, maybe it's not the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watchmen. Maybe it was the 13th. No, that couldn't be it because the Long Night lasts for a while. But I really wanted to say something, but I totally forgot. So.
Oh no.
I also wanted to say something, but I wrote it down, which is that.
Oh, that's smart.
Oh, good job, Jonas.
Yeah.
Real professional operation going on over there.
You don't make it through the Citadel without learning how to take notes.
I thought they didn't do that over there.
No, so what I wanted to say was this talk about how, first of all, I actually think that either all or some of the children of the forest who are chilling with Bran in the cave actually did create the White Walkers, just because I think it would be cooler if one of them actually was like, we created them, we goofed, we're trying to fix it. I can see that happening, but that's,
Right.
And then there's the thing about, there's the bit where someone in the book says that the old gods don't, like the Northerners believe that the old gods watch people through the weirwoods, but then the children of the forest tell Bran that the trees are the old gods. And so this idea that the White Walkers are somehow connected with the North or with this weirwood network, and some people like Krasta calls the White Walkers the gods, which kind of makes sense, because That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
I always like this idea of the
how
White
people work.
Walkers being either part of this this network, or that they actually are the old gods, or like Melisandre says, they are the servants of the Great Other, whatever that is. Which also seems to be connected with what Bran and Bloodraven are up to, because when she looks in the flames and she sees the wolf head and the thousand eyes looking at her, she thinks it's the Great Other that's looking at her. So that's always thought that was an interesting connection, that all these things are referenced together, the old gods and the White Walkers and Bloodraven and the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like the White Walkers in like with Bran now, I don't know if they created the White Walkers or not, but I think there is definitely a faction of the Children of the Forest who maybe went against the mainstream Children of the Forest and went north to find like a weapon so they could finally settle the war. Maybe make a
Right.
deal
And
with someone.
that would be another layer in like their whole characterization as a whole. Even the show neglected to do that. Wow, surprise.
What?
But
Yeah, we should not assume that they
Even
are a
the
monolith.
show.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not
That's
supposed
how you know
to,
it's bad.
We're not supposed to assume that they are a monolith, just like the First Men is obviously a collective term for many different tribes that came from Essos, many different peoples. So
Exactly.
obviously the Children of the Forest aren't going to be just one big happy family. They're going to have
Right.
clans and factions, and they're not all going to agree.
Right. And we might even get a bit of that with how Bran interacts with them in the future chapters before in the Winds of Winter, if we ever get it. Which we probably will. I'm optimistic. But like with Yogi said, one or two of them might even still be from around way back then. I believe it's Leaf that Bran talks to, who says Cold Hands is extremely old, which can imply that
long ago.
Killed him long ago. Yes.
Yeah, and she is like 400 years old. So what is long ago for her?
Right. Yeah. So we don't know exactly how old any of them are. So yeah, there could be like one could be from that faction, possibly.
Yeah.
Some could be very old. A couple could be very young. There's a lot of questions surrounding them.
And George loves to do this thing where the name actually means the opposite. So when they say Children of the Forest, even though they're short, they're actually very old, right? We have the Kingsguard, who are supposed to be, they wear the white cape, right? They're supposed to be loyal and pure, and then they totally suck, right?
Yeah.
So George is really into this, like, them being presented one way, and then you learn that it's actually, the other way, right?
Right, yeah. We get them, they get all, the children that we meet all have names that, Mira, she just kind of picks off the bat and attributes them to random things. But, like, I find it interesting how you have, like, children who are named, like, Ash, Snowy Locks, Cole, Leaf. While they're all nature-type things, I find it very interesting how specifically winterish and kind of melancholical you can attribute those names to. It implies that they are old and all sorts of words that I can't come up with right now.
Yeah, I think it's also
Ancient.
interesting. We have the Bogmen having Children of the Forest blood, and they all have names like that, right? Like Moss and Reed. It's based on their environment that surrounds them, the nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing with the North in general, like there's House Flint and House Strong. Not Strong as Riverlands, but yeah, they have already short names like Stark and Flint and Nurray and stuff like that.
And we think that House Blackwood,
names.
when they were in the north, that the woods that was there, that is now the Wolfswood, was actually called the Blackwood. So they were also named after their surrounding as well.
That would make sense.
I'm obsessed with House
Planet had an
Blackwood.
epic episode on the House Blackwood.
Blackwood
is
You
so
can
good.
find us on Podbean.
I love, yes. Hashtag plug Planetos. It's your next favorite
That's
podcast
awesome.
and obsession, I promise.
I love.
I like this
the
question.
Blackwood. I'm obsessed.
I like
with
this question from
Bloodraven
Marsha.
as well. So. Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
not Yara.
Yeah. I can tell you one thing that Cold Hands definitely isn't, which is Benjen Stark.
We know it for sure. George
They killed him
said no.
long ago.
He
They
did.
killed him long
And
Yeah.
also,
ago,
George
like-
R. Martin literally wrote it in red Sharpie pen. No.
Right? No. If he's alive, he's walking around as another. I'm sorry, people.
Yeah.
Or as a
Yeah.
white, he wouldn't be one of
In
the
case
others.
people don't know about that, but there was I'm sure most people know this, but there was like his editor wrote a note. Is Cold Hands Benjamin? And then George wrote nope. And I'm kind of jealous. Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous of this editor that he just gets to like, they just get to ask questions like, is this, and he just answers it. Can we get a hold of whoever
Simple
edits his
question
books?
to answer when it's no.
Yeah, I mean, it's like nope.
Yeah.
I always assumed because he wears black clothes, so he kind of looks like a brother of the Night's Watch, which always made me think that he was probably one of the Raven's teeth that accompanied Bloodraven to
Ooh, that'd be cool.
the wall. And then when he was killed, the children did that magic stuff to bring him back, and that's why he sort of like works with Bloodraven. I couldn't see why else they would just
I like
have some
that,
rando
'cause he
work
would
with
already
them.
be loyal to Bloodraven.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Archmaester.
Grandmaster.
Grandmaester.
Grandmaster.
Why is Grandmaster
Oh,
two
yeah.
words and Archmaster is one word? Those are the real
Those are
questions.
the real questions
Oh,
we
well.
should be asking.
Shall we move
Yeah.
on to the next question then?
Yes. What, is anyone just going to
Is
accept
it-
my answer? Has no one else said any guesses what Cold Hands could be?
Well, I think
I would upvote that
could
Reddit
be-
post
he could
theory. I
be-
like it.
like I like your theory a lot. I also thought I thought long about, could he be one of the 12 companions of the Lost Hero? Could he be like Lost Hero type of long ago? Could he be
Right, yeah. Like if he was someone in relation to the last hero, it would fit a lot with the sort of vibes we get from him that are very Stark-like. Like once we get Jon Snow resurrected, I imagine we're going to get a lot of parallels between him and Cold Hands.
Mhm.
So if he is someone related to the last hero, we would probably get a lot of analogies to that.
Yeah. The problem is that
my theory.
Go on.
Sorry. I do love the Raven's teeth theory. I also just have a small tinfoil theory that he's the guy Bran saw get executed in front of the weirwood when he could taste the blood at the very last of his third chapter in Dance.
That's interesting because he would have, and by being a sacrifice, he would have probably been tied to the werenet. Interesting theories, everyone.
Yeah, I like
I
Leaf's
just
take
like
in
the
the
term
comments.
Raven's teeth because it's creepy too. You know?
Yeah, ravens don't have teeth.
They don't. That's what makes it weird. And there's
Yeah.
the archers that are just following, this albino one-eyed dude around, being like, "I shoot you if he tells me to." It's
He's
crazy.
vague.
Yeah.
Like Bloodraven is vague. He can't be anything else than freaking. He has some magnetism because he scored like the prettiest
He's
woman
scored Shira
in the
Sea Star.
land.
He's gotta, you know what that means.
He's gotta have something.
He's
like
packing.
he is. So, like, I get that people
Grandmaster's
follow
like, "Don't
Bloodraven.
touch my pearls."
Maybe
Come on,
Shira
he-
just,
he-
values
but,
other things. Maybe looks aren't important to her. Maybe she's,
Yeah, she
but
values
I'm
one
kinda
thing.
intrigued by this comment in the freaking chat. What do you think?
I don't know. Do we want to risk it? I don't want this poor man to shave his head.
Post your
Like,
social security number so we can.
we would have,
Like,
just to make sure, like, we'll take you on the
Germans have
stream.
something like they wouldn't have social security numbers anyway.
You can
It's
just
like-
ask. We'll let you on the stream. You don't have to sacrifice something that
Yeah.
you
You don't
value.
have to sacrifice your locks.
it's poor timing also because winter in Germany and you're shaving your head. Like, no.
Ew,
I live in the Netherlands. I live next to Germany. I know how cold it is.
Yeah.
Like,
If
don't
he's living
do
in
that.
Germany, he's not going to leave his house anytime soon. So,
Yeah.
doesn't really matter.
but if you
As well
have
you
an
shouldn't.
interesting thing, if you have something interesting you want to talk about, let me know. I will send you an invite. Just, keep it civil. Okay. So, sorry,
I
I
love
was
how you were like,
a
I
quick-
want to do like a call-in radio show, and I'm like, this is gonna bite us in the ass. Let's do it.
What is your theory on who Cold Hands is? I just want to give a quick shout out and hello to Aegon the Sixth, who just entered the chat.
Oh.
Hello.
Yeah.
He was
You just
also a
did
guest on
Aegon.
episode with
my
him,
podcast.
Grammys.
Yeah, I did.
Cool.
I did.
Ooh,
Yeah, it
that's
was a
about
good
Your
episode.
turn for a plug.
How many plugs can we
I'm
fit
here
into
to
one
plug
live stream?
all the things.
Yeah, Micah, what do you know any going on? I feel like you haven't plugged anything yet.
He plugged Planetos earlier.
I plugged Planetos with Black.
And
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Micah's going to be on my channel on the 22nd to talk about DC.
Yes, I am. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about
that's
DC
true.
Comics.
He's also
Talk about
working on a
DC.
book.
Yes.
And that'll be out at some point. Couple of years.
Probably faster than wins. Anyway,
Hush, no, we're faster than Dream.
sorry, that's
No,
me.
please,
George, take your
please.
time. We love you.
Take your
I know
time,
he's
George.
he's
You've
a fan
given
of
us
the
enough.
channel, so
George has given us enough.
Trust
We
me,
should
he
be
really
happy
has
with
now
what we
a
have.
before
bled
my
for
book's
us.
Yeah.
Take your time, but know that
Yeah.
millions and millions are freaking waiting on this thing to hit the bookshelf. So take your
The depressing
time.
thing is, like, he's been working on that thing for a decade, and as soon as it'll come out, the nerds will read it in like 3 days, and they'll just go on waiting for Dream of Springs.
Do you mind if the
This
hand
is not
of the
applying
Yeah,
pressure to
of
me
I'm
at
talking
all.
about myself
No.
in third person. Do you mind if the hand of the queen suggests a topic switch? Unless you had something.
Sustained.
My queen. Oh, okay. Thank you.
My notes are reserved for when we get to the long night portion.
Well,
I only have one note.
I have
They
0
eat sheep?
notes.
Question mark.
Sheep.
They eat sheep.
What do you guys
Probably.
think about the integration of the Wall, the Night's Watch, and how they've basically forgotten their original mission to fight the others and the Long Night?
It sounds oddly thematic, which never occurs in this story.
Not at all. Nothing about this is contemporary.
I'm not
Well,
actually
but
so sure
if
I'm not sure I buy into the whole they forgot their purpose thing all that much, because way back in a Game of Thrones, when this is like one of the things that shocked me the most when I reread the books. Tyrion talks to Jeor Mormont, and he just casually drops that their rangers have seen White Walkers on the frozen shore, and I'm like, you know about that? I feel like that should be a bigger deal. Like, for all the mystery that is built up, we like see them. I think we like physically see a White Walker like twice in these books, which is when Sam kills one, and then in the prologue. So for them to be this rare, for Jeor just has casually mentioned to Tyrion that, oh yeah, by the way, we've seen actual White Walkers walking the earth. No big deal. Maybe mention it to the Queen or something. So like that, it's not like that they've forgotten that they exist. And it's also not like they're lazy, like they're doing work and all that stuff. It's just I don't know, maybe they're not taking it as serious as they should.
Can you put up Emma's comment, my dear
Oh,
queen, about the 8th graders? Because I
Okay, yeah.
lose sleep over this quote from D&D. They're like, oh, themes are for 8th grade book reports. Like, I'm getting a PhD in literary analysis, and we talk about themes every class. They are not for 8th graders. Ugh, sorry. Themes are important, and obviously George wouldn't write them in if he didn't think they were important. So, yes, thank
Right.
you, Emma. You too share my anger. I know, girl. I
Right,
feel
and
it
like the
coming
stuff
from
with the Night's Watch, like at this time, rumors are placed around everywhere, and the White Walkers were X thousand years ago. Of course, they haven't seen any actual things, so they're just like, yeah, we saw like White Walkers or whatever. But it works in parallel and tandem with like knighthood, right? Where they've forgotten what they're actually supposed to be there for. And then at some point in time, the free folk got stuck on the wrong side of the wall. So the Night's Watch had something else to distract them. And yeah, whole
That's another
others
thing
big
that
danger.
It's
Sorry.
why
Go ahead.
like
Grand
when they built that wall, it's not like there wasn't plenty of time to get to the south side of it. So how did the wildlings ever end up living north of the wall in the first place? I know there's one maester who
could have
suggests
been-
that the
prisoners sent to the other side or something.
I
Could have
guess. I
been
mean, I
people
know
who
there's
don't
one
want to
maester who
leave their
suggests that the White Walkers weren't actually like magical beings, but that they were just a type of clan of the First Men who moved south when the long winter hit, and that the modern day wildlings are like their offspring. Which, I mean, that theory's been debunked. He's not taken seriously
I
ever
disagree
Citadel.
with that theory. It's not.
But it is
fantasy enough.
like it shows that people like in universe think about why would anyone live north of the wall in the first place. It's not like there wasn't plenty of time to make it south before that thing was finished.
I see it as they were nomadic, so they went north and then were hunting game there. And as they were coming south, like you can be moving around beyond the wall for a couple of years and then come back down and be like, well, time to go south. It's starting to get cold. What is this big ass wall here? Holy crap! So like because they are nomadic, it could have been that they were away for long enough for the wall to be built. We don't know how long it took for the wall to be built, and they could have thought that. They could, even if they knew it was being built, they could have thought, oh, it's going to take years and years or something like that. And then by the time they were coming back, it had already been done. And if magic was used to create the wall, it could have been constructed quicker. And I have an essay and a video where I read the essay comparing the wall to the Great Wall as well. So it was thought, once it was built, you have this idea of, which it was already there in China, but you have this idea of the barbarians are on this side of the wall and we must protect civilization.
Right.
So the name of my essay is Protecting Civilization. So it's the exact same mentality where there may not have been a divide before, but the second you build that wall, you have that mentality of we have to stop them from invading civilization. So I think over the years, it becomes very easy to forget about the others because you can start to think, like I think it was Emma who mentioned earlier, who was like, you saw a mermaid, right, sailor, right? There's this side, they start to become snarks and grumpkins, right? They start to become a myth. And you go, no, it's because we're defending civilization from these wildlings.
Yeah, you can attribute that to the Great Wall of China and to Hadrian's Wall in Great Britain.
There's
and
also
the 5 forts of ET, right, which were built to stop the Great Wall. I talk about both of those in the essay. I'm looking at all walls basically in that essay.
Yeah.
But it was also built to stop the Long Night. But we're not sure. We don't get enough about ET. But it's possible that ET also forgot why that was built, and they think it's to stop northern invaders.
There's also a third wall, which is the wooden palisade that's a third of the size of the ice wall that's on where Ib is.
Did you say Ib?
Sorry, where?
Ib, yeah.
Ib?
Yeah, they have a big old wooden palisade that's really tall that sort of separates the peninsula, I guess. So maybe that one was built as well to keep the White Walkers out. If we assume that like the Shivering Sea froze over during the Long Night and they came through multiple points.
There's also the mazes of Lorath, which could have been used to hide as well.
Or to confuse the White Walkers.
Hey, confusion tactics are great.
Go to the Disputed Lands and check out Crowfood's Daughter's
Don't underestimate
video
confusion
on the Maze
tactics.
Makers of Lorath, because I don't know what I'm talking about the Maze Makers.
That's the other thing. Like, were those labyrinths even around before the White Walkers came, or were they built after? It's sort of like we don't really have really great dates on any of these things. Like there's the whole Empire for the Dawn stuff that's also vague.
The 5 forts of ET and the wall of Westeros were around the Long Night after they've defeated the Long Night.
Right, yeah.
Okay, this can't happen again, y'all. Got to figure something out.
Yeah.
But how far after, we don't know. Humanity. And the 5 forts of ET are said to house 10,000 soldiers per, building, and there's 5 of them. So, that must have taken a long time if you're not using magic.
If you're not using magic, because
even with slave labor, like the Great Wall of China took a long time, and people were conscripted. They literally just came through and they're like, able-bodied man, able-bodied man, able-bodied man. Let's go! Like there was no volunteering.
So back to the original, what's our previous topic? Like, it's not going to take much for everyone to realize that it's actually happening, and the others are legit, because while they're all distracted with wars and kinsling and stuff, all of a sudden the sun's going to be out, it's only going to be pitch black, and there may or may not be dead people roaming around trying to eat your kids. So it's not going to take that much to convince everyone.
And giant ice spiders.
Once it happens. And giant ice spiders, big as hounds.
Big as hounds.
I always wondered about that thing where J.R. Mormont sent Alistair Thorne with a hand that still moved in a box to King's Landing in a Clash of Kings, and by the time he made it there and they would actually like hear him out, it had like rotted away, which I thought was weird, because if the dead bodies rot away anyway, couldn't you just wait out the White Walker threat until they don't have any more dead people to raise and they're all rot? That's another thing. But we should probably talk about...
That's a whole other thing. That's
a whole thing. Like how long do they rot, do they not, and all that stuff. And so like, didn't he show, like, you'd think that on his way down to King's Landing, he never went, hey dude, check this out. check this crazy thing out that I got in this box. Because we never really hear anyone mention about. Do you remember that dude from the wall who had a literal like moving hand in a box? I feel like more people should have seen that thing and like talked about that, but it's never brought up again.
Well, most of the people who were there are Tyrion, who's actually skeptical of the White Walkers being there. He only wasn't when he was on the wall, and he was like, I'm uneasy. And then like Cersei and the Lannister crew, they don't care. They don't care about the Night's Watch. Tywin certainly didn't. He's just like, if the wildlings come out south of the wall, they can deal with either the Ironborn or the Northmen. I'm way down here. It ain't gonna bother me.
Not in my backyard.
Yeah.
Tywin always great at planning ahead. That's his whole thing.
Really forward-thinking man, really.
Yeah.
Looking
Yeah.
into the future and what he doesn't just plan.
He really
A to
sees
B,
how his
he
legacy
goes
is
A
going
to
to
Z.
function
Yeah.
beyond his existence.
This is why he said, "You shot me," when Tyrion shot him, like a goddamn idiot.
I guess
there was no
I
possible
guess,
way he could have seen that
Grandmaster
coming.
Buzzkill wanted to plug his future episode with Tywin.
Oh yeah, I'm working on an episode that's called Tywin Lannister and Overrated Evil because he sucks. And he is not cool, and he is not great at playing the Game of Thrones, and he is not competent, and he is shitty, he was always shitty, and he's a terrible person, and you're just all falling for the Charles Dance Zaddy energy. Get Charles Dance out of your head, picture a bald guy with whiskers who's a terrible father. Don't care about Charles Dance.
So Charles Dance as being a terrible father, but not as good looking. Like Charles Dance,
I mean, that's
is actually
hot.
really good
I mean, if
looking
Charles
older.
Dance is your terrible father, that's hot. But
Yeah, he
I feel like his
definitely has
charismatic...
granddaddy vibes.
His
Oh, I
charismatic
know,
performance has
You're
messed
gonna
with
be mad at me,
people's
but
perception.
He has granddaddy vibes.
Yeah. What's the grandpa equivalent of a zaddy?
I don't know.
Gratty?
Grizzaddy? Anyway.
Grizzaddy. Anyway,
Matt Spade is like,
My
moving
point.
on, moving on.
my point is he was so charming that people sort of like project that on the book Tywin, who just
Yeah.
sucks and is awful.
Yeah.
Kadiffi?
Huh?
Kadif. Granddad, I like to, Sorry, I was still on that.
Good
Gritty.
deal.
No.
He's a
Sorry.
gritty.
Anyway.
A gilf.
Kadil?
Okay.
Kadil.
Yo.
Oh no.
All right, moving on.
What? Oh,
This
oh boy.
work does the important work
Okay.
that needs to be done
Order.
in Westeros.
Border. We're about the people's business. And
Yes. The people of Westeros are well served
Yeah.
by our brilliance.
yeah. So let's go
This-
back to.
this-
I think we talked about the hand in the
this
box,
simple,
and also
like,
about.
This tinfoil idea is freaking
I
scary as
am
That
is
mentally blocking
that would
it
be-
out. It did not happen.
So this is the thing that I
can't
want.
be able to sleep
Okay.
tonight if I
So
think about
this is
this
the
too
thing
much.
that I want. If we never get Dream, I at least want George to publish any of his long night material that he has, whether or not it's from the
Oh,
point
yeah.
of view of the main characters. I would just want to see
I just want
like
Fire and Blood too. I know I'm literally.
I want to
the
hear a
only one in
knocking on the
fandom
door.
who wants
I want to hear a knocking on the door, and then someone opens the door, and then there's nothing there. They look down, and there's a hand. That's just going like this.
That's how the
It's
books
like
will
the
end.
Addams Family,
Yeah. Yeah.
the thing.
Well, I have
Yeah.
completely forgotten what we were talking about.
Well,
Okay.
we could probably go into the long night. We're approaching 1
we
hour.
were still on like the first. Yeah,
Sorry?
I think approaching 1 hour. Maybe we should go on to like a next thing about the long night.
So
We can talk
are
about
we
that.
are we all
Does anyone want to plug anything, like, because we're almost at an hour?
Sure.
No take.
Oh wow, Amy
So
wants to
those
host
of
us.
you in the chat, we have more content coming at you. Don't worry. We're just gonna plug a couple things, then we're gonna go right back to talking about the North, the others, the Wall, all that stuff.
The Doom.
Like I said, Friday the 22nd, this guy is going to be on my channel. We're going to be talking about DC shows and movies and why the shows are great and why the movies suck so much. So that's going to be really fun. And yeah, I've got a lot of stuff coming up on my channel, so please follow the links in the description. I have an upcoming essay comparing Brave Danny Flint, speaking of the Wall, and Alara/Sorella to Hua Mulan, since I study Chinese history and literature. So I'm going to have a great, and I also have an upcoming essay about yin and yang symbolism, black and white symbolism, in Song of Ice and Fire, and I might have Bronsteries on my channel should he grace me with his presence. So since he wrote a great essay on that. So yes, those are my plugs for the mid-roll. February 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be on The Unspun Yarn, our good friend Nessie, for second episode of Bleep the Patriarchy. Bleep it, y'all. We're going to do some feminist analysis talking about the binary, bleep the binary, and why the binary is a figment of all of our imaginations. It's going to be very fun. So yes, please check out my channel, and please check out The Unspun Yarn.
You want to throw John Webster in there as well?
Have you heard of The Gospel of the Poppy War?
Oh yeah.
Please read The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I have upcoming stuff about this, and yes, Micah and our dear Knight's Queen are reading it along with me, and I have upcoming content, and I want you to be able to understand and love it. And I have more His Dark Materials, The Witcher, and Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff coming up. But yeah, read The Poppy War. Okay, plugs are over.
There's also this YouTube channel called John Webster Film, on which Amy is a co-host.
Jesus Christ! Every Saturday at 7 p.m.
Amy's not busy at all.
We are talking about. I have nothing to do. We're talking about Mean Girls this Saturday. Then we're going to talk about X-Men, the first movie that next Saturday, and then the last Saturday of January, Pan's Labyrinth. So please check out John Webster Film. We talk about a movie every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And if that's too late for you because you're in Europe, like this side of the panel, then you can watch later. But we love seeing you there live. Yay. Thank you,
Yay.
Grandmaster, for reminding me.
Well, I also have some plugs. I have, as I mentioned this earlier, Micah's going to be on the podcast someone towards the end of January. We haven't settled on a date yet because he's getting a job. And but yeah, it'll be sometime around late January. And then on Valentine's Day, February 14th. I've never had to care about Valentine's Day.
I'm so excited for this one.
Is it February 14th?
It is February 14th.
All right. On February 14th, we are going to have a very romantic live stream celebrating the beautiful relationship of Jaime and Cersei Lannister. I'm going to have Rohan, who was also Amy's stream. Rohan.
She was on my stream, my channel to talk about Cersei, and she talked a lot about all things Cersei, but she's going to specifically talk about that beautiful and not at all unnatural or unhealthy relationship. So
they are two consenting adults who have sex with each other. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not
it's
problematic.
Fine. It's fine. I mean, they're terrible,
they
but they're all
issues with each other at all.
But that's the thing. They're both terrible. So unleashing them on other people is not good. Just let them be together. Let them ruin each other. That's,
and that's why Brienne doesn't deserve
from our Grandmaster over there.
Rohan is going to make that. Rohan is going to make that case. I'm just going to be there hosting it. It's on Valentine's Day.
Check out Rohan on Twitter at Cyril Woodcock.
Yes.
And,
there's also she tells me
there's also incest going on in the chat right now because someone in the chat, John Sauer, whatever, I don't know. Get that out of here.
Get that shit out of here, chat. God.
I guess I'll plug the Planetos podcast as well. I am the third host on Planetos podcast with Travis and Brett. You can find us on Twitter under Planetos and under our three various Twitters. We focus on minor characters and houses or various subjects we feel like an episode is deserving of regarding Planetos. You can find us on Podbean, SoundCloud, and iTunes, and Google, I believe. And I'll be on the other episodes with this person and that person. So, yeah.
Busy man.
No.
Yeah. I also wanted to add that the recording for the Valentine's Day episode might happen actually before Valentine's Day. So I'll announce that. But the podcast version will be out on Valentine's Day. I think I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. And I have one plug because next month I'm going to try this again, the live stream stuff. I will be talking about the Ironborn, and I have a couple of guests confirmed. So it's probably going to be on the 15th if I can. I have to ask someone else, like one person, if she can do it on the 15th, but I think she can, and I will have a couple of nice guests and 2 returning guests that month. So February, probably the 15th, I'm going to talk Ironborn with the Jaded Redhead, Kelly in the chat, and Amy and Grandmaster Buskill. Like my Hand of the Queen is there. It's amazing. And yeah. So look out for that. I will tweet about it. I will let people know. I figured out how to plan a freaking stream now. So now I can do that as well. Put the link
Very
up
good.
a couple of days
Very
before. So yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to plug
Kelly
that
is also
one
going to
first.
be on my podcast, finally explaining to
Ooh.
everyone what the difference between a galley and a galleass is.
Oh, that's very important.
That's what the stream's about.
All you'll have is have
You
Kelly
will-
on. You'll go. So Kelly, boats, and then just sit
Kelly,
there and
what-
let her take it away.
What is a dromode? What is a cog? Please
She
explain.
she will be
She
back.
will explain
my-
it.
Cogs are
In
fat,
detail.
man. George always be fat shaming cogs.
Yeah, he loves fat
Yeah,
shaming
don't-
cogs. What is this cog hate?
I've heard that cogs are very practical, so don't fat shame them. Don't shame them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
rude. That's
They're
rude.
they're
Okay.
big boned.
Yeah. You
Okay,
can fit
so
more stuff into them.
More junk in the
we
trunk.
kind of
All right. Anyway,
Exactly.
we kinda did
Exactly.
something like did something like a mid roll now. I think. So
And we've steered
mid-roll.
way off course to keep with the ship
yeah,
theme.
let's go back to what we're talking
It's a
about.
long
'Cause,
night.
you know, people will be watching other streams after my stream. So, yeah, mid roll is gone. So long night, everyone.
I
What
heard whisper.
caused that? Oh, you heard some whispers.
I've heard
Do tell.
whispers of a theory that the wall is brought down by Euron blowing the horn of winter that Samuel Tarly brought south of the wall. Are we all in agreement with that theory?
I like that that's
Yep.
the horn
Yeah.
of winter because we see all these horns that are, really done up with, all, and they're really pretty and there's like
Really
gold
pretty,
on them.
fancy, or
Yeah, but then it's this
devastating.
one cracked horn that no one even bothered to
The
keep.
one small thing that just slips under everyone's
and yet
notice.
Sam keeps a hold of it. It's like plot relevant, I believe. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think that is the horn of winter, just because George loves that whole the broken thing that you don't expect then becomes queen of all of or king of all of the Seven Kingdoms.
Or
Sorry
both,
to
actually.
misgender
Yep.
Bran. I mean, but yeah.
Well, I mean, Frost is gonna
He's
become
obsessed
queen of
with these
something
broken
too, so.
things, right? Actually being great. So for that cracked horn to be the horn of winter, I think is very much in the theme of what
I like
George
the
does. And
comment from
yes,
Aegon.
themes are important.
As I said that on Twitter, I believe that Euron will blow Sam's horn in the Winds of Winter. And if it won't happen, I will be
Hot.
disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He loves
Yeah, I
blowing
like
horns. He
Aegon's
loves getting
comment.
magic horns and blowing them. Also,
Yeah.
I'm
I
glad
used to
we're
believe
all-
for some reason, I had like a Mandela effect kind of memory where I was 100% sure that I read somewhere that you can see the wall from the top of the high tower in Old Town. But I couldn't find any proof of that, so I just made that up in my head because I always thought it would be so cool if Euron was actually standing at the top of the high tower and you could like blow the horn and actually see it come down. But
in
it's
the
not.
world
Nope.
of Ice and Fire.
Nope. I mean, I couldn't find it. Maybe it's there.
Did we
but
all imagine that?
what I know
Yeah,
is that
right, I
the
remember
Casterly Rock is
something like that
3
before.
times. I think Casterly Rock is like 3 times the size of the wall, and then the high tower is like the same size as Casterly Rock.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not. I don't know. I think you can see Casterly Rock from the high tower or something,
We've
but you
got
can't definitely.
Grizzly in chat saying they've heard of it as well.
can-
Yeah, I
like,
think
I mean-
everyone's heard of
I don't
that.
know if it's
Yeah.
something
Uh,
that
Like it doesn't
Yeah.
really make a
Old
lick of
Town,
sense.
213.
Like you should really
gotta
should be
fact
able
check
to
you
see the
now.
wall.
I think it's like they took some
It's a rumor, I
literary,
think. I think it says somewhere that people
Freedom with
claim that
that.
you can see the
claim.
wall, but that can't be
claim.
true.
My dear queen, could you put up Anna's comment about the Spanish translation? I think that alone can give us a hint that the horn is important, right?
Oh, meta.
So very meta. Thank you for that, Anna.
That
That's
is extremely
fascinating.
meta. I'm gonna have to look at that and fact check you, Joe.
Everyone's like, grab your books.
You just grabbed it and within arm's reach.
My books are in another room, so I'm just gonna sit here.
Yeah. I think I definitely think that's only a rumor that you can see the wall, but I think they might do some glass candle stuff where you can like see it.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Of course,
Chris Lee
there's
has a
candles
good point
up
about
there.
that in the chat.
where you can FaceTime the wall with the
Just watch it come down.
candle.
Because I think he just wanted to establish the connection, because otherwise it'll feel too detached if someone blows the horn in Old Town and then like a couple thousand leagues north the wall comes down and like everyone knows and says, what happened? did it work? You know, you have to kind of like make sure that it
Right.
actually happened.
Yeah.
Right.
And also,
So-
there's, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, I just wanted to get that theory out of the way and make sure we're all good with that's how the wall comes down.
Canon.
Oh,
done.
yeah.
Like Jatten, it's canon.
Yep, it has been accepted
Yep,
as official
exactly.
dogma of the Church of a Song of Ice and Fire.
I definitely think that is how it's going to happen. But as a queen who listens to her small council and all that stuff, I also think I should keep an open mind. But yeah, I definitely think that
Very
Buren is
judicious.
going to. Yeah, I just thought, throw it in there. Just keep an open mind. But yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
that going off of this, then, do you think that what about the giants from the Earth part of that? If there aren't that many giants left, are they gonna like come back all undead and stuff? Because it says waking, sleeping giants. Sleep could mean death in this case.
Right.
Mm.
So
I think
are
it's
all the
definitely
giants just gonna be like
possible.
zombie? And they like come up from the.
I think it'd be rad if we saw some undead giants. Would really suck if we had an undead Mag the Mighty. Even though he's probably burned.
Or an undead
Like-
1-1.
No,
Undead
one, make me
giants.
sad,
Okay,
sad.
someone get him off the
It's
stream.
definitely a possibility, but I also think that waking sleeping
That thing
giants from
is
the earth
definitely gonna die.
can be earthquakes. It could be an earthquake. That is like
Yeah,
the
it could be
waking
an
of the
earthquake.
sleeping giant.
I don't know.
But-
Some of the
Maybe
things
it's
that
With Godzilla, when the H bomb, like the atomic bomb, like woke him up. Maybe there's like some like giants that are lying in state, and they need some kind of seismic activity. I don't know.
maybe.
There is the
Would
idea
they
about
be
seismic
different-
activity at Hardhome, but anyway.
Yeah, that is true, yeah.
But yeah,
Oh,
guess we could
Aegon, get
segue-
out of here with that one dead comment. No.
I guess we could segue from that to where are there characters? I have a question
Oh my God,
for the
that's
small
funny.
council and for the Night's Queen.
Okay. Yeah.
What characters do we think could come back as undead to haunt our point of view characters and drive them into insanity? It's Alistair Thorne.
Good question.
I hope that guy doesn't come back.
Oh God.
Well,
he
he's
needs
coming
to
back as a
die.
white, just so as he could be like, I remember.
Yeah,
And then
I
John
still
will
don't
put
want to
like
see
a
his
torch through
face.
his eye or something.
That would be good. I changed my mind. I hope he comes
Oh.
back. But
That was easy.
I don't know. You're very convincing.
I think Benjen could probably come back as a
Yeah,
as a white.
Benjen. I think mostly it would have
but
to be
I-
people
but I
who were
also-
in the north, right?
Yeah.
Who died in the
And I
north
also
and weren't
think that
buried.
Benjen maybe is farther in the north, went farther into the north to finish his assignment, like figure out what's going on.
Well, it's possible the
So-
others could have captured him and brought him up there so as they could try to get answers out of him or something. Try to figure out if he's a
also
green
be-
sphere, and then when that failed, they shanked him.
Wow, the life of a
But
POW.
Yeah.
Sorry.
he could also come back because we know that we have some more point of views probably into the lands of always winter in the Winds of Winter. I
Bran,
think George
yeah.
said something like that.
He
So
said
you
that
have
we'll
Bran.
go farther north than we've ever been, yeah. I believe that would be
Mhm.
Bran, probably, either warging summer or having visions deep into the heart of winter.
Or glass candle
Could
shit.
be.
Or glass candles, yes.
Could also be. Could also
Yeah.
be because could it be Benjen coming back with extra information?
Yeah.
Maybe.
You come back and be like, here's some stuff for the plot, and then keel over and die.
Wouldn't that be dope if Benjen was actually like the POV of A Dream of Spring, and he's just like in the land of always winter, and he's still alive?
It would suck if he was our prologue.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, but-
Never
but
goes well for
that's-
those in the
that's on-
prologue.
Well, he could be the first one who survives.
But
It's A Dream of Spring. It's hopeful.
At the end.
At the end, the epilogue.
I also saw people in the chat bring up the crypts in Winterfell, and those people definitely
Oh,
come
yeah.
back.
So
no question
yeah.
about
I
that.
don't think as many will come back as they could, but this is actually a good chance to plug the Planet Toast podcast live stream for our Halloween, where we talked about this for an extensive period of time.
The Crypts of Winterfell are very fascinating.
Yeah,
They are
make
very
no
fascinating.
sense. I'm sorry
You
to
know
say that,
what?
but why are the oldest ones the furthest down? That makes no sense. What are they going to do if they reach the top? Start a new one?
Just keep
Keep asking
Maybe-
questions, and
maybe
you're going to have to
they-
stay in the crypts.
That makes sense.
Maybe they started with caves underneath Westeros, because I think there are probably caves underneath Westeros. We have heard a
Maybe
lot
like
of
Gorn's Way,
legends and
where
stories.
the mole
about
people
them.
live.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, that's
if
very
they
possible.
come under Winterfell, they could have built from down there upwards, for like, because it would be a good way to shield yourself. It's like sit in a bunker and wait till the freaking shit is over. So if they went underground to survive, it could have been that, you build the crypts from beneath to the top. I don't know. I have no idea. I think
Yeah.
there's definitely something in the crypts, because the lower levels are inaccessible. There's a reason that they're inaccessible. I think Indie Geek said something about that. Maybe like they the first kings already rose one time and destroyed that part. But I don't
just
know.
had like an
Um,
epiphany.
no.
Because isn't there like a rumor or a folklore tale that there's a dragon underneath Winterfell? So if it's a hole
Mhm.
that wakes sleeping giants, dragons are pretty big.
It's a theory.
They're pretty big.
Again, I'm plugging the Planet Toast podcast live stream where we talk. We went on for like hours about it.
Why don't you just go on
Yeah,
that
you
stream
can.
then if you like it so much, Micah?
Yeah, don't you just marry it, Micah?
Yeah. Why don't you become a co-host on Planet? Oh wait. No, but seriously, like if we're gonna get undead ice dragon thingy in the books, that'd be one hell of a way to get one.
I mean, that's true.
If we
Aegon
do,
the Sixth has
but
an
I am
thought
skeptical.
about Lyanna maybe coming
mean-
back to haunt people, and she.
But she's
I
like
don't
Bones.
believe- Yeah, well, they're all.
then she's
some of
already
them are
haunting Ned,
dust,
so-
I mean, but
Yeah, that's
like
the
none
thing.
of
I
none
don't
of them
think
are
that
a thing.
Lyanna had a sword, because only the kings of winter or the lords of Winterfell get a sword, because frickin' patriarchy. So
Oh, well,
Gotta
yeah,
bleep
the
it.
channel thing's
Gotta bleep it.
almost empty.
bleep it, y'all.
Oh yeah,
Pretend
that's
to
right.
drink, even if you don't have liquid. Yeah, as Grizzly
Yeah.
is saying that Lyanna getting a statue was like a very special case, so I
Yeah,
doubt that.
and I know people
got
think
her a
that
sword.
Rhaegar's harp
How
is in
dare
her
Ned
grave.
be inclusive?
I never bought that though. I never bought the whole Rhaegar's harp is in her grave thing. Because why would you put incriminating evidence? Like if you go to such lengths to keep it a secret, why would you do
Yeah.
something stupid like that? So, I don't know.
Her statue secretly has like a letter in her mouth that's like, "Hey John, here's your parentage." Like, cool.
I don't know.
I think that with
No.
the dragon eggs that are plausibly underneath Winterfell, I think it's more builds up, providing to the fact that you had a Valerion marry a Stark bastard. It's supposed to build up to Jon secretly being a Targaryen. It's my underwhelming buzzkill theory. Sorry, I'm taking your title.
I've heard the theory that Sarah Snow doesn't even exist, and I'm like, what? My life is ruined.
I
No.
like
Okay.
giant undead ice zombie dragon.
People could be wrong, but okay.
People, it's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
Does it have to
Everyone's
be
wrong
undead
now.
though? Does it have to be undead though? Couldn't have been sleeping. Like, what do ice dragons live on? And what do fire dragons live on? Because you have like stories about the fire dragons coming out of the 14 flames, and
That's true.
could like Earth, like the
Yeah, there's
The
that whole
fire
thing
of
about
the
Very
making.
innocent.
could the fire of the Earth sustain a dragon? Could it grow on
No
fire
idea.
of the Earth?
I don't know. I mean, they still
I
got.
have heard no whispers of explanations for this.
They do
No.
eat meat.
Thanks for your report, Lord Micah.
What do we pay
I
you for?
provide such great counsel here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Okay. So. Yeah.
Yeah. So the second
So-
long night is probably going to be brought about by Euron. Question is, how long is it
going-
going to last? That's an
Is
interesting
the
question, I
night-
think.
Months.
But is the long night, is that related to the falling of the wall, or does the long night come?
I think
because
it'll be
of the
like
mag-
enabling it. I think it'll be something that can enable it. Like once the others, like I figure that it's a combination of the actual winter that's showing up,
Mhm.
probably in some way allows the others to really amplify whatever it is that they're doing to make the night last for probably a few months. I imagine the long night's going to last for a few months, which is
Mhm.
You mean
significant.
not 8 minutes? Sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh my
I've
God,
never
yeah.
stopped playing D&D.
Oh,
John isn't here. Get it out of his
Yeah,
system.
I gotta get it out of my system.
I hate the freaking short night.
Short night. Ugh.
Yeah,
Oh my
but 2
god.
months of a long night is still incredibly significant.
Yeah.
And
Like, a
detrimental
week.
to, like, all the
A-
crops will die.
Yeah, a week
Animals
is
will die.
significant
Yeah.
to the environment
Yeah, you
and
have
to people.
famine.
Everybody gonna starve and die.
Yeah,
That's true. Well, maybe it's going
Really
to
gonna
last
suck.
exactly the length of a regular normal winter, and it'll be the beginning of just normal seasons for Westeros finally, once they
as
get
for
rid of
like
the others
when the others
are
they
defeated.
pull levers to ship, except it's the wrong lever and they fall into a crocodile pit. As for like the others coming down into the north, there's a line I caught while reading John 6 of A Dance with Dragons today, where he's got the free folk lined up behind a wagon so as he can feed them. And
Yeah.
he says this, wordless, they formed up in lines behind the wagon. There were 3 women for every man, many with children, pale skinny things clutching at their skirts. John saw very few babes in their arms. The babes had died in their march. And I think this constitutes a lot for how we're going to see the people up against the long night, like in the Vanguard. Most of the guys are dead. Like, if you look at... you like that a lot, Amy. But,
I'm not smiling about that. I feel bad for them.
we have set up
Oh,
for...
imagine an army of dead babies coming at you. That's freaky.
Ugh! Children are creepy when they're alive.
I know.
Like we have, so like I figured this is like inkling of what we're gonna see when the long night like goes in full force. Most of the men are gonna be dead and the women will be tired. There'll be children wondering what the hell is happening. And it's gonna affect them just as much as it's gonna affect everyone else.
Well, what is it that old Nan said? And the babes
Babes were born and died in
died without
darkness.
seeing the sun, and the women's tears dried on their cheeks. Yeah, old Nan's really
Bro.
poetic when it comes to talking about
Mhm.
death and doom. So
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good at that.
the chat is just scarring me today.
The chat,
All of
Yeah,
this
it really
all
is.
of me
I love this.
playing.
Get help.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to call
It's
my
like-
therapist after this.
Doesn't your love of horror just likes the idea?
Oh yeah,
I love,
definitely.
I love some good
Horror
horror
is my
in
favorite
my
genre,
epic
so I love
fantasy,
it, but-
so.
I'm also
I don't think dead babies would be
horrified.
that creepy, because like, what are they going to do?
I know they can't do shit, but still, it's creepy.
throw up
all
everywhere.
the-
Even when they're dead, they're still gonna throw up all the time.
Like the long night is going to be so devastating,
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Like-
Winds of Winter is going to be devastating for all the named characters. I have a list, and Dream of Spring is going to be even more devastating.
I have a question. How far are they going to make it? The White Walkers.
Oh, that's a good question. I
I-
have this headcanon that they're going to make it as far as the God's Eye, but I don't know if they'll make it past
Yeah.
that.
God's Eye
I
makes
agree.
sense for
setup is very significant for the old gods.
It's not a real war until the Riverlands have gotten fucked up.
That's another reason. It's like
Yes,
the Riverlands
of course.
can't be prosperous and
They
like
gotta suffer.
recover from the War of the
They gotta
Five
be
Kings. They gotta
destroyed.
get hit again.
Plus,
So
you
I think
have
it's like
Yeah.
around the God's Eye there, where because it has such a mystical old gods feel to it. Which everyone's like, oh, but aren't they kind of? Couldn't they be puppets of the old gods? We were kind of talking about that earlier. But I think that they're an example of corruption of the WereNet. So
I just realized I had another epiphany. It's the second one.
oh my gosh.
The God's Eye
Grandmaster's on
is a
today.
big old lake with an island in the middle, which is similar to what we saw in the Beyond the Wall episode in Game of Thrones. So maybe this sort of last stand type situation with people being on the God's Eye, where the White Walkers surround them and then the God's Eye freezes over and we'll finally get to see what's actually on there. Maybe that's going to happen.
It's also significant in the dance. I think the big epic battle of the Dance of the Dragons, the Dying of the Dragons,
Yep.
if you will, happen on the God's Eye. So
Yeah.
I feel like George just keeps being like, hey, have you heard of the God's Eye? And then you forget about
Yeah.
it. And you're like, hey, you remember the God's Eye?
Right.
So
Remember
I
the
feel like
green
there's
men?
something going on there.
Talk about it.
If
Yeah.
they just make it to Winterfell, I think it's a little anticlimactic.
So-
I'm gonna write Ice Dragon under Winterfell, and also I'm gonna write Island thing, just so I
Island
remember it.
thing. You'll remember
Island.
it.
Are,
I will.
yeah.
I
Are we
have
going
heard
to
many
see
whispers
ice
about-
dragons?
I have
I-
opinions on the ice dragons, but so I have a theory on exactly why I have a theory on how if we get the final battle against the others, specifically being at Winterfell, how that could happen with the books if say the others get to Winterfell and they besiege it. They don't have to attack it. They could just wait for people to die. That's
Starve
like their
people out.
that's just their main attack way. They just wait for people to die and then boom, rise them up. Fresh bodies. So but if the living people sent, say, on Jon Snow, who doesn't need to sleep, south to go get Daenerys and be like, please bring your fire nukes.
So you
And
think it's gonna be Daenerys coming up to save them?
I think that
Later.
Jon is going to lead a mission, Last Hero style, south to the Trident, and he'll probably be followed by others and whites, which they will probably bring a lot of troops down there once they realize Daenerys has a dragon and Jon could meet up with her at the
Yeah.
Trident or even the God's Eye.
We might get another the King Who Knelt situation if Jon meets up with Dany at
Exactly.
the Trident
The
after
King
she's
Who
just
Knelt.
wrecked
I like the
Aegon.
symbolism, like with the
Melt.
Last Hero symbolism and the King. Is it Torin? The
Torin,
King,
yeah.
King
yeah,
Torin?
Stark,
I like
yeah.
all of that symbolism. I think. Ooh, you brilliant, Council, brilliant.
I'm just having one. I'm just pew pew pew. But also, I
You're
think it'd be
both
kind of
going at
lame
it.
if the White Walkers only make it to Winterfell.
Exactly.
We know
That
for
is the
sure
other
you're not
thing.
going to
Yeah.
have Tyrion in the crypts where dead people are to attack him with Sansa being like, ah, ah, ah. That's not going to happen.
Oh my
I just thought of that
God.
clip of Peter Dinklage.
Okay,
They're in the
okay.
crypts with all the dead
Okay.
people.
Yeah, great job.
Let's
Freaking
take, like, a
Einstein's
couple of-
over there.
let's-
No, I
let's
mean,
take a
they
couple
can
of
like,
minutes.
right?
Let's
I mean,
take
I'm just
a
gonna say maybe they
minute
don't breach
and-
Winterfell. Like they can split
yeah.
their troops.
But also, like, let's go, because I can't keep back anymore about the freaking short night. Like the
Okay, let's do it.
tactics
Fuck
suck. It's not
Fuck.
believable. I can't. It's just like, why use cavalry against an army that doesn't flee? Like, why
Yeah.
use your first cavalry? Why aren't they in heavy plate armor? Why don't they have lances? Why do you do that? And also, why is your army in front of your castle and not in your castle? Because, logic.
Yeah.
The simplest
And-
answer. Sorry, keep going.
And
I'm gonna get a.
how are those people not, like, crushed against the wall? Because you see them, going over each other to breach the wall, and then 3 or 4 people can hold them off with a couple of swords. What? It's like the army outside is getting annihilated, but inside the wall, where they're everywhere, they can't stack on top of Jaime and Brienne to smother them to death. Sorry,
I
you
have
Wait
a
your
theory
turn, the
about
queen is talking.
I have a hot take about this, and I think if the episode had been good, no one would have complained about any of that. I don't think that's what made the episode be not good, the fact that all the tactical decisions didn't make sense. Because that's the case for, like, everyone loves the Battle of the Bastards, and that shit makes no sense. But let's not get into that.
But the Battle of the Bastards was like a small thing. It's the Long Night, this huge mythological.
Yeah, what's disappointing about the episode mainly is just that it was like this threat that they build up, and then it's just like halfway through the season, it's completely resolved, and it doesn't even have any consequences.
And in the after commentary, D&D are like, when you see the Dothraki go, and then all of a sudden the torches are out, and they're like, it just looked really cool. It's like,
it did.
Wow.
It did look really cool.
It looks cool. But then you get to her in King's Landing, and there's still some Dothraki there. I'm like,
yeah.
Why did those guys get to live?
But maybe to give, since we're shitting on season 8 anyway, I might just upset John Webster from John Webster Film even more by drawing a parallel to The Return of the King, which is the Lord of the Rings movie. And like in that movie, when all these giant elephants attack, and Athena's like, take them head on, which is literally like the worst place to attack them from, because that's the only bit of them that's dangerous. No one ever complains about that, because that movie's awesome. So it's not really like the technical issues that's really what makes that episode so bad. It's just that there was such a lack of tension and consequence and just like meaningful resolutions. Like, why did Arya kill the Night's King? That makes no sense.
They literally said because no one was expecting it. Everyone was expecting it to be John or Danny, so they made it.
Luckily,
Arya.
there is no Night's King in the books, so we won't get any of that nonsense.
Seriously, I'm so glad.
Probably.
Where did she come from? And
where did she go?
Yeah.
Where did she come from? Cotton Eye
I think,
White. That's the
I
question.
think the book equivalent of that question would probably be who's going to kill Euron. And there's a lot of candidates for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then also just another thing that really annoys me is the whole people complained about that it was way too dark, which it was. And then the guys from the show were like, well, people just don't know how, to set their TV brightness and stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but if you're making a TV show, right? If you make it in a way where you can't see anything, if you have that thing on factory settings, maybe you're not doing your job right. Like the job as a cinematographer is to make sure that people see what's on the screen. And you shouldn't expect them. Like, we live in 2021. People watch it on their phone. You should make sure that people, can see what you're doing. But that's just a whole other thing.
I just love Grizzly's comment about the Dothraki torture outs look good because they were the only time you could see it.
I know. I wanted to put it up, but I also wanted to answer this question of reflective trembling. Because I think so. I think so. They could stack. They have ways. They definitely have ways.
If they could.
Also,
they could literally pile up into like an undead ladder. I mean, they're the whites are like pawns. They are, you can easily get rid of all of them. You just make more. What is it? What am I looking for? What's the word? Replaceable. Anyway, I'll think of it.
I don't know.
Expendable. Thank you.
Expendable.
Yes.
Yeah. Like you could have
like
that
fast
image.
Food workers. I'm just
I'm not sure if we're ever going to see them attacking the Eyrie or not. But like, I love that image of like. You get that long trail of going from the Eyrie to the Gates of the Moon twice. You get to experience that long trail twice. Which I don't have anything against that. Just the whites showing up when you're in the middle of that would be devastating. Like if you're trying to get an army up or down it, that would just cripple your entire army. That would,
Yeah. Luckily, there's no one for them to kill at the Eyrie. Already abandoned it.
Yeah.
For the winter.
Well, like the one season that was totally created by D&D, or the one episode that was created by D&D that was the writer and all the writers that was good was the Battle at Hardhome, and we see them walking on like the sea floor. So I feel like they can kind of do anything, honestly.
Dead things in the water.
Dead things in the water.
That
gives me goosebumps.
That episode was cool.
That episode was really cool, and it wasn't anywhere in the book. So it's like, okay, so you can do good things, you just choose not to. Sorry.
Yeah.
Put in the time and good things
I have another hot take. John's whole thing at the wall in the books definitely could have benefited from a trip to Hardhome, because that is a bit of a snooze fest at times.
It is. Yeah.
I disagree. Actually, I disagree.
Oh my God, discord among.
This is factionalism.
So with Hardhome in the books, I think it serves a lot as build up to what we are going to see with the Long Night and the others, of course. I think that we will see it. If anything, we'll see the aftermath of it. That will further haunt us and give us a visual of what the others did. Because when we want to see them in action, we want to see them in action right at the wall or right below the wall. Like at, say, Last Hearth. or Winterfell, or On the Way to Winterfell, or the Dreadfort. But
White Walkers and the
with
Dreadfort.
Hardhome, George does a lot of great horror that we believe is happening because of how he writes, how he does this, and how utterly. Yes, I do, Kelly. I do want them injected into my veins.
That's so great.
Words.
But is it a bit like? Is it a bit like with when in the Lord of the Rings films when they go into Moria and they read that book about what happened before, and then you see it happening again, and it's
You think
extra
there's going to be some guy in Hardhome with a giant book that he died while finishing it?
No, but it could be in Last Hearth or something.
Yeah. That wolf was committed.
Oh my gosh, that's like in Monty Python Holy Grail, and he's like, and they will at the God. It's like, oh, he died as he was writing it.
Yeah, that wolf was committed to his job.
Yeah.
No one can.
Yeah,
that'll be our Grand Maester right there. If he's getting attacked, he'll still be, scratching away at those scrolls.
I'll be long gone. Yeah. He'll be writing.
Yeah, I would have already evacuated with the queen. You got to keep the hand of the queen alive. So we already would have been.
That
like,
is true. Yeah. That's.
I value also my small council because you need good advisors to have.
With a Politburo of Westeros.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what else? I got a question, if you don't mind me asking one.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You all know. You know what's coming. You know what's coming.
Of course,
it's the one note I wrote. They eat sheep. Let me elaborate on that. So the whole thing with Crasta, we're all on board with the fact that they turned Crasta's sons into more White Walkers, right?
110%.
Because we don't really know how they reproduce.
Yeah.
Question is, how did they reproduce before they found Crasta? Are they just steal babies?
That could be how they were so low numbers that they didn't attack for thousands of years.
So the whole thing is Crasta's fault. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. Yep. All right. No.
Also,
the thing is,
feminist rage activated by talking about Craster.
The thing is that in the books it says, well, what does he do if he doesn't have a son on the go? If he doesn't have one when the White Walkers show up, and it says he gives them sheep. What do they need sheep for? Are they making White Walker sheep? Are they eating them? Do they need sustenance?
They need blankets to keep warm.
George R. Martin has emphasized that while the whites are undead, the White Walkers are very much alive beings. So do they just eat? Do they eat mutton? Is that what it is? What do they need sheep for? I just picked up on that.
No idea. Maybe they want the wool to keep Benjen warm. Maybe it's their way of feeding Benjen while he's their captive.
They don't turn them into White Walker sheep?
I have kind of a theory about that, because what I think is that they also got babies. I think from you have the people from the shore, like way up north beyond the wall, that sacrifice or worship the others, because you have some wildlings talking about that. So I think they get babies from multiple places, not only Craster. Just Craster is closest to the wall that we know about that sacrifices his baby. Also, I think maybe they use sacrifice to give life to ice golems, which were spirits from. Where would that go into? I think there is
potential. Yes.
I have a more simplistic, way of looking at it.
Sacrifice those children to bring life to those ice golems, which are White Walkers.
I have a more simplistic thing, which is it's just to show that he's still committed to them. If hey, I don't have a son, but I'm giving up sustenance for you. Maybe that's too simple.
I want you to be right.
Oh yeah, the sheep.
Yeah,
I think
that might be true. Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, look, I'm sorry. Those, the bun in the oven was a woman, which is like the one time being born a woman might be slightly better, but then you also get raped by your dad. So no thanks. honestly rather be born a guy and go get hella turned into a White Walker. But that's
The
just
thing
me.
also, so all the White Walkers are men.
Yes. So the others are like the White Walkers are separate from whites. Whites can be man, woman, trans, non-binary. They were just basically turned.
But there is
Also
there is
animals
but
and all
one
that other
queen.
stuff.
Also, what do you guys think? Yes, there's but one woman, which is why this lady over here is working on a very interesting theory about that. That it's I see it, and I've talked to you about this, my dear queen, about like kind of the queen ant who creates all of the children. Right? There's only one kind of birthing mechanism, which is the woman. But I do. What do you guys think? One of my favorite things about the White Walkers, the others in the book, is that they have a language in the book, right? That sounds like ice or something like that. And then in the show, they're just like silent. Silent.
Actually,
Like,
they're
I
like,
find that really boring. Yeah. But like
what they
in the
sound like.
book, you actually in the prologue, the very first thing when we hear of them, there's like they're like chatting at each other and laughing.
yeah,
like
they're
I feel
like having
They're
a
like, look at this
conversation.
guy.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
probably like, look at that guy, we're
Poor
really gonna
idiot.
kill him.
Yeah,
But, like,
in the
I-
show,
I
in the
think
They had personalities in the book, if that makes sense.
in the book
yeah,
they're way more.
Right.
They are. They have way more. Like they have a society. They have language.
They have something.
Yeah.
They have something. They have humor. Like
I actually
they
think that
laugh.
makes them scarier because you can just make
Yeah.
it into like, oh, they're just this great other that, you know, is nothing like us. But then to have them like, it's like in the Poppy War, when the characters are fighting another race and they realize that the race looks a lot like them, that actually makes it kind of like weirder to fight them in a way. Is like, okay, so
Right.
you know, we have from the show that the Night's King, whatever, this isn't going to happen in the books like it did in the show, but that he used to be a human. So there's like this familiarity when you see people
Right.
having a language and laughing and having a society. So I actually like that better, and I think George wanted them to be less foreign than they were in the show. In the show, they're just like, I have a
They-
dead horse and,
And
I
like,
have long
what's the
hair.
detail of them having a language? And with them like laughing at Sir Waymar, that sort of adds a kind of arrogance to them that the Knights of Summer have. Like, haha, we're gonna own you because you have no chance. Which is
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
a really great, satisfying moment in the Hard Home episode on the T&D show.
I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
Of when John kills White Walker.
The
in
shook, yeah,
Hard
the
Home.
shook face.
When the White Walker's just like, excuse me, what?
You have, oh my gosh, you'll know what I'm talking about, Grand Maester and the Queen, but you have more or less slain me, sir. From our D&D game.
I also saw a great meme. I don't remember where it's like, you see that shit? And then it cuts to John's face. Yeah, I saw that shit. When they're both standing there, it's so awkward.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
and George also talked about them being like the She, right? Which are these like beautiful ice beings. So they
Right.
also are
Yeah.
supposed to
They're
be
hot.
kind of attracted, kind of sexy, right? Be like,
yeah, they're like
Yeah.
those Irish elf thingies.
Like
Yeah,
sorry,
inhuman
yeah.
beauty. Inhuman
I'm always
beauty.
sexualizing everything. I'm sorry.
No, fuck that.
And, like-
it's natural.
It'd
But
be interesting
yeah,
if we saw like
I'm thirsty, guys. I admit it.
it'd be interesting if we saw that come back when other characters actually see White Walkers, like other characters who have Valyrian steel swords. Like, what will Brienne think when she sees another walking up towards her before she has like an epic battle with one? Please, George.
Mm.
Do it.
Just release it.
And
I
also,
don't care if it's in a book.
if we're talking about the She and about like this social structure of that the White Walkers may have, a lot of stories about the She, the She were matriarchs. Like there's a lot of stories about kings as well, but in a lot of stories they have matriarchs. They and they have like
Night's
probably,
Queen, perhaps?
well, maybe.
I believe they also stole babies. They had changelings. They stole
Yeah.
babies and then gave a
They
baby that
stole
looked like
babies.
yours, but was actually one of
Could
them.
George be pulling from something?
No,
And
he
then
never-
also-
he doesn't have any
you could
cultural things.
you could stop him stealing your babies by giving them sacrifice, by giving them stuff they wanted,
Like a
so-
sheep?
or milk and cookies, whatever you want.
A carrot. carrots.
But
Wait, that's a horse. Sorry.
Crasta's putting out little milk and cookies for the White Walker.
Give him a dead carrot for the dead horse. You know, think of
Yeah.
the steeds as well.
yeah, but it's
Oh my god.
no, you see a lot of matriarchal societies with she, and you see trouble with like they have a lot of infertility, and it's and they take a long time to do stuff because they live for a long while, so you can take your time. You can make a plan that is like for human time span could be like multiple generations, but like for them it's like no, we're right on schedule. Like so I think there's more than only their appearance that is related maybe to the she from Irish.
It kind of makes them creepier because in the show they were sort of portrayed as this like they were just fulfilling the purpose for which they were created, whereas in the books they like enjoy it, which just adds another level of like they love it.
Like they're like hanging out, having some cups.
Yeah, like those other dudes.
Like, hey, you want to go fuck up some of the Night's Watch dudes?
Yeah,
sure.
A little bird has pointed me towards a comment made by Lady Leaf Underhill. She has in the chat where she's asking if in the show all the White Walkers were male, but do the books indicate that?
Yes, they do, because we only ever find out about how they're made through turning sons into them. So, I mean, it's not to say that you couldn't turn a female baby into a White Walker. We just don't really see it happening. So it could be, could not be. Maybe they're all dudes.
Yeah,
maybe they're not.
Like maybe we'll come into a rare case where a female White Walker, a female elder shows up, and
maybe. I mean, if they originally were created to help wipe out the first men, it would make sense if they turned warriors into White Walkers, which would be men. So, yeah.
And also, I think like there is but one female White Walker mentioned in the story, because I think that the Night's Queen was a White Walker, and if there's like only one female in the story, and she gets mentioned like a couple of times, but not a lot. Most of the focus is on the Night's King, but I think the Queen is way more important here because she is the only one of her kind, as far as we know. Yeah. So that also, I think, makes the hive theory about their society a lot more believable, because if you have only one female, you have a queen, and then you have like your soldiers, your generals, and then if you go like, this is a bit weird because I'm going to know a whole different fandom and story and stuff, but Stargate, Atlantis, they have the Wraith. They are like an enemy, and they have a queen. Every hive has a queen. She has soldiers, like the generals underneath her. She can communicate with those generals, and those generals, they control the drones, like just like the Whites. Yeah. They control them to fight for them, and then they can fight as well.
Right.
But they all take their orders from their queen, and the queen is the only one who can produce like the Wraith, because she has the power to lay the eggs, or have those egg pods in Stargate Atlantis. But I think that is a lot of what my and my sister's theory about the Night's Queen has a. Like, I really think it's a matriarchy, it's a hive, and I think it could be quite similar to the Wraith from Stargate Atlantis.
I think also something that you and I have talked about, Night's Queen, is how George likes to have two things and make you focus on one when the other is more important. We all focus on Azor Ahai when Nissa might be more important. We focus on, the Night's King from the wall, not the one in the show. And then actually the Night's Queen is more important, right? We focus on Jon and Dany, but actually Bran is going to be king, right? So if that's canon, which I think George has said, yeah. So you do have this kind of
everyone.
look over here, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, right? So I think that is fits what Night's Queen is talking about, fits into this overall theme that George is doing. Themes are important.
Get out of here with your themes. You're never gonna make it in TV.
God, I'm trying to make it in literary analysis, which cares about themes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Themes are for 8th grade books. He's a novelist. How you say something so stupid?
I can't.
But what's even more upsetting, like his novels are like good. They have themes. I don't get it.
I don't understand.
He wrote a really good book called what's it called? City of Thieves. City of Thieves, I think it's called. It's a good book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In case anyone.
Yeah. Okay. So, like we discussed a lot. I just really want to discuss also a bit of bit more of the Night's Watch, because like we're talking about the Wall as well, and I want to talk some spooky castles. The Night Fort. There's also Night's Queen, Night's King, Night Fort. You know, I want to talk about like the legends of the Night Fort and how they may inform us about what maybe can happen with the Long Night, what maybe can happen at the Wall with Melisandre, Shireen, Patchface, like the stuff that happened now is going to happen in the current story, but also the legends and the myths, because the Night Fort is the first castle of the Wall. Let's talk some Night Fort. Or
the Night Fort is going to be. I heard whispers that the Night Fort is going to be a place we're going to see again, because that is probably definitely where Stannis is going to end up and wins once he gets kicked out of Winterfell after ruling it for all of 2 weeks. He'll probably head back there, and Selyse will probably have to go back there after she gets booted out of Castle Black. So, and that's also the place where Bran probably has to get back through the Wall. So there's going to be a convergence happening there, definitely. So we're probably going to see the burning of Shireen take place there, and we got a gigantic weirwood tree there as well. There's a lot that's going to happen at the Night Fort in the Winter.
And Stannis is going to be okay, if not, and order the burning of Shireen, by the way, Standerman. Stop trying to get out of it. George said that he's like Agamemnon who killed his daughter. As
a Stannis fan, I will say that Stannis is going to say, burn Shireen.
He's going to say it. They always go, but he literally says, what is the life of one bastard boy against the kingdoms? He could easily say that about his own trueborn daughter. There's really not that much of a stretch. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off about that. I'm just really mad when people keep saying something that George has said is going to happen is not going to happen. Or they're like, but Melisandre's going to twist his arm. No. He's going to be like, we need favorable weather, whatever. Kill Shireen. Just like Agamemnon killed his daughter for good winds. That's what's happening. Mm-hmm. It's called a literary parallel, people.
Yeah. It's almost like he's not that great of a person.
Careful.
By the way, speaking of the Night Fort and Stannis, though, I have another great theory for all you out there. I'm 3 for 3. I got the Ice Lake thing. I got the dragon thing. So Stannis has the fake Lightbringer, right? The sword that doesn't give off any heat, but people think it's Lightbringer. So I think how he's probably going to end up dying is I think he's going to stick around long enough for the White Walkers to actually make it through the Wall. He's going to try to kill one of them, and then when he whips out his stupid fake sword, it's going to shatter into 1,000 pieces, and then he's going to die. Much like the illusion that he is Azor Ahai will also shatter.
Even what would make that hurt even worse is if he's fighting like with Jon, and then Jon's sword blocks it.
I mean, like literally, like fake sword is just going to like
Valyrian steel.
explode.
Dang it. That's all you need. You don't even need Blightbringer. You just need a
No, yeah, I
Blightbringer.
definitely see that as I forget who said it. Someone said, I believe it was in the Nauticast Slack group, that Stannis could do what Theoden tried to do with the last charge into Helm's Deep. But instead of it being a victory, it'll be a fail because Stannis' life is a big L. But
Yeah, I just want the sword to shatter because it's like symbolic.
Yeah,
yeah, that
Like
would
the
that would
illusion.
definitely.
broken
That would
imagery
definitely
and
work.
broken sword imagery is huge. Please check out Archmaester Emma's blog on that, redmiceatplay.com. She has a great
Another
series on
Archmaester.
that. And she actually
can have
talks about how
multiple.
the broken sword is a last hero symbolism. When the last hero fights, his sword breaks beyond the wall. You have the Titan of Bravos, who is probably the last hero in a statue form. He has a broken sword. So please check out Archmaester Emma's work. None of that is mine. That is literally all I'm parroting her because she has actually done
check
the
out
work.
Archmaester Emma because she is awesome.
So yeah,
I had the
redmiceatplay.com.
privilege-
Also, this guy, Ron Steries, I've been hearing about, whatever, his essays are on there too.
If you like him so much, why don't you marry him? Oh, wait.
Fine, I will! Fine, I will! God, just because you said it, Grammy.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
But yeah, broken sword imagery is definitely a thing. The reason I don't want his sword to break is then that puts him in the last hero spot, and I don't want him there.
He's not a hero. He burns his daughter. Like you can't be a hero if you burn your daughter.
Right,
It's
and
not
that's why
happening.
he's gonna die. And that's why he's gonna die like that.
Yeah,
It's
George's
because-
main thing is don't hurt the children. Save the children.
Exactly.
That's his
And
thing.
when he commits that sin, there is
no coming out of
turning
that.
point.
Yeah.
That's
No,
You can't.
kinslaying.
Theon's gonna try,
Kinslaying.
and
It
it's
is
probably gonna.
kinslaying, and it's killing a kid. Exactly.
Theon's gonna try, and it's probably gonna end up with his death too, but more heroically because he'll be trying to save the people he wanted to kill.
No.
So
Yeah, and how does
Yeah.
Theon have his redemption by saving Jane Poole, who is still a child at that point?
Yeah.
So you redeem yourself by saving the children, and you damn yourself by killing him. Like Gregor, he's done a lot of awful things, of course, but one thing we keep going back to is the killing of Rhaenys and Aegon, who is maybe young Griff. I don't know.
No, he's not.
Probably not.
No,
Anyways,
it's not.
back to the Night's Fort. You have the rat cook, right?
Mhm.
Rat cook, and you have that's
We
where
have-
the Night's King and his corpse queen ruled from. So you have a lot of death imagery going on there.
You also
Yeah.
have the gate,
Kinslaying.
the
The
gate.
Black Gate.
The Black Gate, yeah.
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 It's
Yeah.
like
And also
actually
the
comes from
Night's
is
Fort.
inspired from Lord of the Rings, I believe.
Yeah.
And also,
Also,
the
can we
Night's
just talk
Fort
about
is
why does
like-
the wall have so many gates? You'd figure that they just don't put any holes in it for people to walk through, because it kind of negates the whole purpose of having a
Night's
giant wall.
Watch used
if
to
you're
be
gonna put a
huge, though.
gate
They
in
used
it.
to have every single castle manned, so you would need. They'd be quite far apart,
Yeah.
so you would need your part of the Night's Watch to be able to go out and patrol beyond the wall. But now,
But
of course,
why?
yeah, there's 3. They should have just. I think they filled in most of them anyway.
They did fill in
With
most of
ice.
them. Why would you even? It like all they
it
have to do
covers
now
a
is
vast,
just get through
it's
the
a vast
gate.
territory of land.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
There used to be like
But also,
every
like,
single
those
all
gates-
19 used to be manned. Or
Yeah.
woman
Those
in the
gates
case
are
of Danny
not the
Flint.
biggest.
Check out my essay
Those
coming at you
gates-
soon.
Those gates aren't the biggest issue. It's that freaking bridge that they built. Like what?
Yeah.
Like there's a whole wall, and then there's a bridge. Like
You're right. That
Yeah.
makes no sense.
overboard. Like what
Well-
the fuck is that bridge doing there?
Why would you build a bridge? Honestly, they deserve the Night's Watch deserve to be wiped out.
You
They
know
clearly
what?
have no
Point,
idea what
yeah.
they're doing.
Bad job. You deserve to be.
Yeah. Also, isn't there like
Ooh, this is a good
there's a
one.
story about wildlings making it like underneath the wall. So there's like the whole thing with like Gorn's Way and stuff. Isn't that also supposed to end somewhere around the Night Ford?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Going back
It's
to the
supposed to go
stories of the
underneath.
Night's Fort. Going back to the stories of the Night's Fort, we have
Bloodbeard.
we have Mad Axe, who
Mad Axe.
is a guy who just like went back to who is he's Johnny from The Shining.
Here's Johnny.
he's
Yeah.
Johnny.
He is Bloodbeard.
Now is the real question. Here's the question: is he possessed or is he just an abusive asshole? Because You can go both ways with the Shining and with Blood X, because
Mad
he
X,
could be all.
But there's also a potential
Like,
that if. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Sorry, Julia.
It's like is he is he a white? Was he a white when he did that, or was he just sane and not maybe not sane, but was he still alive, or was he a white when he did that?
I don't know, but I did come across a possible connection. If Patchface does go crazy and start murdering people, like if that happens in the Night Fort, that could be a parallel to Mad Axe, where Patchface could he could even just pick up someone's axe and just start wailing on anyone he comes by.
And Profood's daughter on In Deep Geek has an episode, or has a video about Patchface, and she talks about how when he basically drowned, he was brought back to life, and then he's actually connected to the old gods. So the old gods could be like, "Hey, we need you to do this shit," and he'll just be like, "Oh," like a puppet of them.
That was like the first time while reading the books when in the prologue when that happened, when I felt like I should start taking notes.
I know. Oh.
That is so freaking creepy.
So creepy.
You have to picture it with like one of those ballet boxes. Ding, 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 ding in the background. I know.
No.
And I talk about in my first essay ever, I talk about some Patchface and Tyrion parallels, because, Tyrion fell into the Rhoyne and then thought he was going to die and then come back. And the Shrouded Lord chapter that we didn't get. George, give that to us one day, because it will prove my theory about possibly the crazy lion theory that I came up with. Anyway.
I'd crawl through glass to get to read that.
I know. I want it so bad.
Yeah. Also, just a quick note about Patchface. I know there's some people who make fun of people who take everything he says really seriously and try to dissect it. But he is so obviously
he's prophetic.
Yes, he has been so correct. He called the Red Wedding. I think was it in Storm? I think it was in Storm, right? He called all of it. No one knew that at the time, but he was correct. So.
Yeah, exactly. The Ghost of High Heart just says it more clearly. And Patchface is just he's on a different level, up there with the gods, and he's a human, so his brain can't take it.
And you get another character in the Night's Watch who predicts things like Patchface does. You get Owen the Oath, who's the king is coming to the wall, and he sees the stags, but it's not Robert that's coming. It's actually Stannis that comes.
Yeah,
and
Robert came plenty during his life, okay?
Sorry.
Wide open, I had to.
There's actually a detail There's a detail in the Melisandre. And there's a detail in the Melisandre dance chapter where when they find the 3 heads that the Weeper killed, Owen the Oath comes out and he's like, "Is it Tywin?" Because Tywin is one of the guys they sent out for the ranging. But it wasn't Tywin who came back. It was the 3 other guys. But I think it's interesting that Owen the Oath was specifically asking for Tywin.
Dang, that's why we've got our resident minor character expert here.
That's why he's got a 95% chance of dying in the next book on your spreadsheet. Because Bowen asked for him. Owen, not Bowen. I always confuse Owen the Oath and Death Dick Hollard for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why you do that. They're completely different. One has a sausage as a weapon, and the other is
one has a sausage in his belt, and the other one got shot in the stomach.
But I'm sorry, I just can't stop today.
Amy,
God,
pull yourself together.
Focus.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Death Dick Hollard was prophetic.
No, I don't think he was. I'm pretty sure he had all of.
I just realized I forgot. I just realized I forgot to book Death Dick Hollard on my favorite top 10 minor character list because he was great.
Yeah.
But
Strong Belwas is the best. Come on. Anyway.
Yeah. Strong Belwas, he's fun. But I need to pay attention to the time as well, and we definitely need another. The Wall and the others.
We'll have to do another Wall episode because I got loads of things with several Wildling characters and Night's Watch characters. I could go on for ages.
We could just make an
Yeah,
episode about
we-
the Night's Watch because we haven't really talked about them other than that they're incompetent.
that's right. And then we can talk about the wall.
Yeah,
in general as well.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to exclude them because the others and
Right.
the wall are connected to each other. So I definitely think we should schedule in another meeting of the small council for the
I'll
to
pencil you
discuss this.
in.
Yeah.
I live to
We'll
serve.
definitely do that.
Yes, we
Um,
serve at the pleasure of the queen.
Yeah, let's do like
Yeah.
the last thoughts and epiphanies, and let's close it down.
I've had
so
my
people
3.
Can,
I'm done.
Can watch.
Oh, what was the
Um,
third one? I didn't write it down. I forgot.
Sorry. Who was someone was streaming at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, Shaya's going to be over at Fandomedia, Kyle's channel, talking about The Expanse. So.
Okay, so I will end this before that, so people who want to watch that can watch it.
And yeah, it's really late for our queen and our grandmaster over there across the pond. So,
but I definitely want to talk more about the Night Fort, about the 79 Sentinels, like what.
Yeah, there's a lot. We didn't even touch the Rat
Brave
King.
Danny
There's
Flint!
dead
Brave
people
Danny
involved.
Flint!
Yeah,
We didn't
Yeah,
even
the
touch
Rat
the Rat
Cook.
King, and we could go miles with that.
Yeah, the rat cook. I saved some of his children. They're in a cage right behind me.
I think the
rats
Red
are
Cook is
cute.
more about, though, not really about the White Walkers. It's more about the cannibalism theme
Just
in
themes,
general.
Grandmaster?
There's no cannibalism in these books, right?
Oh.
Jojen's fine. He's fine.
Right, yeah.
Feast for
He's
cannibals.
fine.
Uh,
He's not
Got no-
abandoned.
okay.
That's
Okay.
stupid.
In terms
Yeah.
of last thoughts, I don't have that much. My notes are pretty small in comparison. I mean, I stand by that Alistair Thorne is going to make a last appearance as a white and say the Alistair remembers or something like that.
Yeah.
Alistair sends his regards.
He's gonna say
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
Oh,
John's just
Oh.
gonna give him the most deadpan. I don't care, and then stab him.
no.
What killed the dinosaurs?
And
The
then
Ice
when he-
Age.
And then when he dies for a second time, you've more or less slain me,
Is he
sir.
going Is he going to be Mr. Freeze? Because that is what you sounded like there.
No,
Chill.
Ice to me.
That's the
Hey,
Night
let's
King.
chill out, yo. God.
Allow me to break the
Yeah.
ice.
Oh God. Okay, that's enough of
That's all the ones I could think of.
we need a new Grandmaster.
I think you need to chill with those jokes, Grandmaster.
All right.
Let's put him on ice. I
Yeah.
can't stand this
I'll
guy.
put him on. that's what I should have said. Damn it. Close the
Jesus
stream
is
down.
bad.
We can't top that.
It's not gonna get better than that.
I don't have any final thoughts. I just love.
I don't
So
really
thank you,
have
Grandmaster.
any either.
Okay, that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
That's good.
Because it's 2 minutes before the other stream, and I think we should close this meeting, but definitely continue about this. Maybe somewhere in further into the year, because first I have to discuss
In next winter,
Ironborn.
maybe.
I will say, Night's Queen, make sure in the top right that you end the broadcast rather than just leaving the studio.
Oh yeah, you don't want that
Oh,
to
yeah.
happen.
Leaving your guest alone like someone did on
What
their
kind of? Well,
first
you'd have to be pretty
episode
dumb.
Yeah,
You'd have to be pretty fucking dumb to
to
do
leave
that.
your first guest ever
That
sitting
would
at
be
the
like-
StreamYard and being like,
Can you imagine that?
just
Oh boy,
leave.
what a stupid thing that would be.
Yeah, I will definitely
Just saying,
do
that's
that.
very
And
important. Don't leave me
I
hanging.
I just want to thank everyone for participating, and also everyone in the chat. It was freaking amazing. I loved it. Time flew by. And I will leave. I will get on making moderators, because I didn't do that because I don't have it open at the moment. I am on StreamYard, so yeah. Everyone have a good night.
Yeah,
And
like Kelly
please-
said, our
please
first meeting
like-
is adjourned. Yes, please like and
Adjourned.
subscribe.
Like,
Check us all
subscribe.
in the description, all the
my
YouTube things.
guests,
Yep.
all of my lovely guests also have or their own projects. So definitely follow them.
I will
And
use my
I
lip
have
gloss to
I
say.
have one last thought.
Oh.
I drew a little White Walk up, man.
Oh.
Look at that.
That's very
Oh.
cute. Look at the sheep.
That's
Yeah.
so cute.
The first
That's cute,
meeting
yeah.
of the Knights Queen's Court is officially adjourned.
Hooray!
Okay,
I must
I'll
go
end.
continue listening to whispers.
Close it down.